Hey everybody, my name is David. A few things before I get started. I tend to speak really fast because I am really bad at synthesizing my thoughts. So I have like 100 slides in 25 minutes. But I think you guys have really short attention spans. You're all into marketing. So we're going to get started, okay? And stick until the end because we got a little gift for you guys at the end. A little sort of raffle tombola type thing. At Growth Tribe, we believe in two things. First of all, we believe that your livelihood as a startup founder, as a marketeer or a product owner, they depend on this thing: creativity, understanding technology tech, and understanding quant and analytics. And we also believe, and we've seen by helping companies and growing companies, that growth comes from the right tool set, the right skill set, rapid testing, and also the right mindset. And first, I want to talk a little bit about mindset with a little story. So, this part is called the mindset of a growth marketeer, technical marketeer, growth hacker. I have no idea what to call it anymore. It's really difficult nowadays. And we're going to do a little game. Whoever can get this right gets this beautiful bottle that also turns into glass wine and a premium sticker from our company. We're a little bit obsessed with branding. Anybody know who this guy is? He's an extremely, extremely important person to this world. You should really know who he is. Anybody?
Jerry Yang?
Jerry Yang? No. Anybody else? Yes? No, it's close. No, it's probably not close, but no. Okay, now that I show you his name, Takeru Kobayashi, can anybody tell me? If you do this, you're amazing and you get a bottle. If not, I'll just give it to a random person. Yes?
Is it the Kobayashi Motor Test?
No. But that sounds interesting. This is Takeru Kobayashi. You need to know this person. This is the world international record holder and champion of the Coney Island hot dog eating contest. All right? This guy can chow down 52 freaking hot dogs in 12 minutes. The first time he participated in the Coney Island hot dog eating contest, he ate 52 hot dogs in 12 minutes. The world record was 25 hot dogs in 12 minutes. He more than doubled it. And this guy is 1.67 meters, 53 kilos. He wasn't built to be the Coney Island hot dog eating contest world record champion because he was up against this guy, right? Guys like this. Guys who were built and who were born to be this world champion. And I'm here reading my book, starting my third startup, and I'm thinking, this is me, right? I'm not born to win. And this is the big bad corporate or the super funded startup that I'm up against. And I'm thinking, yeah, how did he do this? Three things. This is him winning the world championship three times in a row. First thing he did is rapid experimentation. He sat in his apartment for 6 months, testing different ways of eating hot dogs faster. Anybody know what he did differently? Yes, exactly. That was his growth hack. Here, you get the goodies. So you had this scientific paradigm of hot dog eating, right? This whole world was that you should eat the whole hot dog in one go. He did something beautiful, what I call a growth hack. He separated the sausage from the bun. So he would chow down 12 sausages as fast as possible. Second thing, he found a legal loophole in the Coney Island hot dog eating contest guidelines. What do you think that loophole was? Anybody have an idea? Yes? Boom, you got it. Okay, you'll get a bottle too. So there was a legal loophole. You were allowed to use liquid. Okay? What everybody was doing is they were drinking the liquid, but he thought, I'll pre-digest the bun with the liquid. So he would dunk the buns into the water, thus being able to cram it down his throat as fast as possible. So now we're all going to eat hot dogs. So if you could bring out the... no, I'm fucking with you. Little story here. Why is this my greatest... greatest growth hacker of all time. He thought about it subversively. The problem is, after 3 years, everybody started copying his tactic. This is a little bit the same thing with like the Airbnb growth hacks or the Dropbox growth hacks. Everybody started copying his tactics after 3 years. So he actually needed a process to come up with new tactics. What he did instead is he diversified. He started eating grilled cheese sandwiches. He started eating chicken wings, pizzas, and of course, cow brains. So he is the world record holder for the fastest eating cow brain eater in the world. All right. If you're growing a company today, if you're evolving in the professional world today, you guys better learn to eat hot dogs really fast because the competition is absolutely fierce. In our company, we try to replicate the growth of highly fast-growing companies. We try to look for patterns on how they grow so fast, what kind of teams they use, the organizational structure, and we try to train this to people. So these are some famous examples of growth. I'm not going to go into the details. I will go into the details of 3 things they all have in common. First thing, other people's network. Your target audience, the people you're targeting, are already hanging out on other people's platforms. What are those platforms and how can you piggyback? How can you borrow traffic from those other platforms? Second thing is that they tend to be creative, sometimes sneaky, sometimes black hat, sometimes unethical, smart or sneaky. There's always a big debate about it. And the third thing is that they use growth teams, what we call multidisciplinary growth teams, where you stick a hacker, a hustler, and a hipster together, like a data analyst, a coder, and a marketeer together, and magic sort of happens. I'll give you some examples in a few seconds. We've trained about 1,400 people in the last year, and what we've found is we can embed growth into the DNA of the company by teaching the people the right process, the right tactics, and also the right skill set. And I'll give you some examples. Yeah, this is just like social proof. This is all the types of companies that we've trained. We've trained really large financial institutions in highly regulated environments and really, really small startups that just came out. And the process that we use can be applied across almost any type of company, any industry, any size of a company. And what it comes down to is this mix of 4 critical skills: creative marketing, coding and automation, behavioral psychology. Behavioral psychology, understanding the human brain and how to persuade customers to sign up and be retained, and data and testing, rapid experimentation. So why are growth teams taking over the world? First reason is that marketing channels, traditional marketing channels, both above the fold, radio, TV, newspaper, but also below the fold now, even digital advertising, are increasingly expensive and saturated. It's extremely hard to get your word out there on these channels. Second reason is you guys are focusing too much on building product, which is good. You got to build a product that people want. But I believe that your riskiest assumption is actually distribution. It's acquiring users at the right customer acquisition cost and with the right messaging. Don't just take my word for it. Steve Blank also sort of agrees. Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal, agrees. And then Dave McClure, the co-founder of 500 Startups. They also believe that one of your 2 most risky assumptions is distribution. Distribution can be the difference between life and death. The reason for this is this. Right? On average, we're bombarded between 250 to 5,000 ads on a daily basis. So much cognitive overhead. Your app, your product, your startup, your ad is just another little blip in people's lives. This is, anybody know BetaList? Have you guys been on BetaList? It's like a website of hand-curated, up-and-coming websites. This is hand-curated in 1 week, the number of new startups that are coming up in the AI space, in the fintech space. They all have great landing pages, great copywriting, they have marketing spend, they do email marketing. This is what we're up against on a weekly basis. All of this competition, the world is so noisy, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the bad news. The great news is that people are absolutely addicted to the virtual world. They spend so much time on their screens, so us sleazy product owners or marketeers, we have much more opportunity to actually reach out to these customers. This is something I stole from James Courier. I'm obsessed with virality. This is the viral effectiveness of channels over time. We used to have not so many channels for virality. We had basically word of mouth. Then email came along, then social media networks came along, then Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, WhatsApp, Apple Watch, Oculus Rift, Android, iOS, et cetera, et cetera. What's the next big thing? It's a really difficult time to be a marketeer or a product owner because there's so much to choose from, which is why you need rapid experimentation. So many new channels that are popping up. And the new channels, what's great is they have a lot of traffic and sometimes a lot of inefficiencies also, and they're not too saturated with marketeers. But also new technologies and new APIs that are opening up. So what to leverage right now is something we obsess about on a daily basis. So more technology, more channels equals more opportunities. We've sort of mapped out, I highly recommend you read the book Traction by Justin Mares. I'll put it in the notes at the end. There's about 20 customer acquisition channels that exist, like SEM, SEO, social ads, tools-based marketing, which we're really excited about, email marketing, events organization, offline ads, etc. I'll give you a little example on one existing platforms. OPN, your target audience, is already hanging out on other people's network. I was doing a competitive analysis for my 3rd startup, which was a project management tool. And I saw that one of my main competitors, Blossom, was getting 23% of his social traffic from Quora, from a site called Quora.com. It's a question and answer website. So I went onto Quora and I saw that he was giving these answers on Quora. And I was like, well, this is interesting. Like, he's only got 6 upvotes on this answer. This is the #1 answer for this question on Quora. This was posted like, at the time it was like 2 weeks ago, and he already has 366 views. Here, 7,700 views on this question, what is Scrum, and only 6 upvotes on that question. So then I started looking in my field, like project management, virtual teams, team collaboration, anything that was relative to my target audience. And what I saw is that there were thousands of questions being asked in that field, and that the average number of upvotes for the #1 question was only 4.2. So if I could get 5 upvotes on each of these questions, I could be at the top of that Quora question, and Quora usually has really, really good SEO. So that's what I did. I did it by hand at first. I posted like 100 answers in about a week with good content. It was actually good content, a little bit salesy afterwards. And what we saw is that I call this light gray hat, because at some point I started copy-pasting the same answers on the same questions, but it still made sense. And at some point, I had 133,000 views on my questions, 1,230 upvotes, which means that the answers were actually good. So then with my CTO, we built a script, and this script created 8 accounts, and those 8 accounts would go around Quora automatically posting specific answers every time that there was a question. And we were also upvoting our own questions. I know it's black hat. I wouldn't do this in a bank. I had no money, okay? We had no money whatsoever. At some point, this was giving us 24% of our traffic, 28% of signups. We were getting 62 signups per day for a task management tool on 0 budget. So that was pretty sweet. By the way, Quora still really rife for growth. They have really good SEO optimization, and it's really easy to get at the top of a question. How did we hack PR? So we were this young startup, not very sexy, task management, who gives a shit, you know, not really just press-worthy, but we still wanted to get press so that we could raise funds. We thought getting press would be a better way of raising funds. So we hired a press agency. The PR agency, they asked us for 5,000 euros a month. We just didn't have the 5,000 euros a month. So we decided to try it out ourselves using a tactic that was developed by Austin Allred. It's called PR hacking. So basically, what we did is I used a tool called Google News Downloader. I was targeting virtual teams. Has anybody used this before? It's by Justin Wilcox. So if I type virtual teams in here and I click search, it taps into the Google News API. It's going to pull up 323 articles about virtual teams, and in one click I can download that. And I have 323 articles about virtual teams in an Excel spreadsheet. That's 323 potential authors of journalists, right? So then what I did is for 3 hours I went through every article, looked at the description to see if it was relevant to my audience. And in the end I had like 450 articles that were relevant. Then I used 2 tools. I used, first of all, Mechanical Turk. There's people who are professionals in finding emails of journalists. So I uploaded the Excel sheet to them. They found all the emails. And then I also used Upwork. There's people on Upwork who are professionals at finding emails of journalists as well, for like 10 bucks an hour, for example. Then if I sent an email to these journalists, they don't care. They get like 100, 200 pitches a day. So what we did is we preheated them. We used a tool called Buzzstream, which basically scrapes all the Twitter handles of the journalists. So I had 450 Twitter handles of journalists. Then I created a custom audience on Twitter. So I would only target that audience on Twitter, that audience of Twitter handles. So for 1 week, these journalists, all they saw was my company, to do. They kept on seeing the logo again and again and again. It only cost $450. When we finally sent out our beautiful press kit to them, they were like, oh, I know you guys. I've seen you somewhere. I'm not exactly sure why, but you are top of mind, right? I've seen your logo before. You have a huge marketing budget. This used to be possible on Facebook, but it's a lot more difficult now. And this got us, over the course of 4 or 5 months, articles in TechCrunch, Forbes, Entrepreneur, Giga, on Slate, and 27 smaller publications. So that worked really well. Unfortunately, it didn't really help us get funding because the investors didn't care that we had articles. So in that sense, it was a little bit of a failure. However, customer acquisition, we sort of call it growth for babies. With all the channels that exist, there's no excuse not to acquire users nowadays. There's just no excuse. What's really hard and what we obsess and focus on is activation and retention. Activating users, making sure they have a great first user experience, and retaining them, making sure they actually come back. This is the pirate funnel. Who's used the pirate funnel before? Holy shit. Really? Okay, thank you. Oh, Dave McClure, this is like, okay. This is the growth funnel. So this is why, this is, in my opinion, this is changing the difference between marketing teams and growth teams. A growth team will focus on the whole customer journey, the end-to-end tracking of the user. Awareness, getting people to visit the website. Acquisition, getting them to do that first action like sign up. Activation, making sure they have a great first user experience. Retention, making sure they come back. Is it daily active users, weekly active users, monthly active users? Referrals, hopefully they'll invite their friends. And finally, revenue, this should probably be first. I built my third startup for 2 years only to find out that I wasn't making enough money. The unit economics didn't work. But this is what we focus on. We try to find where the biggest leakage is, where our company is leaking the most money and users, and we obsess on improving this through rapid experimentation. I'll give you some examples. Acquisition, getting people to actually sign up. Has anybody ever done a 5-second test before on their website, on their landing page? You have? Okay, good. Good stuff. This is my second favorite chart of all time. This is your average retention rate on Android over 90 days, okay? It's a summary of 150,000 apps on the Google Play Store. Your average Android app has a retention rate of like 3% after 90 days. Your average Android app has a retention rate of 23% after 3 days. People are dropping off really hard. That's why retention is so difficult and is so important. Now, let's do a retention rate for the first 120 seconds. This is Microsoft research. They analyzed 237,000 web pages, and what they found was a negative aging effect. People either stay really long or they leave really fast. What this means, this is retention in seconds, is that on average, your pages, after 10 seconds, 97% of people have left the page. We believe that you need to convey 2 things in the first 5 seconds of a visitor visiting your page or your app: what the hell you're selling and why you're better than the competition. You don't have 10 minutes, you don't have 10 seconds, you have 5 seconds. Why? Because of millennials. So I added this yesterday morning. The NBA is considering shortening the time of their matches because of millennials' attention spans. We live in a world with 0 attention spans. You need to convey your message as fast as possible. Not so much on intent-based platforms like Google AdWords or SEO. People already have the intent to buy. But all your discovery platforms, your LinkedIns, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, it's called interruption platforms. You're interrupting people. You've got like 3 seconds to explain what you're selling. I'll give you some use cases. In 5 seconds, with a 5-second test, what does this website do or offer? Why is it better than the competition? I'll give you an example of what I call user-centric design, beautiful design. And I'll give you 5 seconds. What do they do? What do they sell? But it looks fucking amazing, right? It's beautiful. The guy's got beautiful nails, beautiful photography, the cool hipster tattoo, all that stuff. But we don't know what they sell. And this is what I call non-conversion-centric design. It looks good, but I don't know what they sell. And so when I do a 5-second test, people tell me it's for unlocking SIM phones, a way to unlock your SIM phone. Other people tell me it's about bitcoins. Some people say it's featured a new type of search engine. Most people say it's just a phone, but they don't know why it's special. Actually, this is a really great product. It's a phone with unlimited storage because the storage is in the cloud, but nobody understood that. And already 50% of their people already left because they think it's just some other phone. 15% conversion on understandability in the first 5 seconds. Only 15% of people understood. I call that kind of a fail, right? Let's just watch this one. It gets funnier every loop. One more time. There we go. Okay, next one. Oh, sorry. What do they sell? What? What does it brew? Oh, that's pretty good, actually. Okay. Who knew it was beer? Oh, okay, smart. Okay, well, you're a lot smarter than the people I interviewed. We did a test like this. Everybody thought it was a coffee brewing machine. They had actually on purpose designed it as a coffee brewing machine so that people could relate to it more. And it turns out only 30% of people understood it was a beer brewing machine. I don't need to buy a coffee brewing machine. I'm just going to move on. This one. What do they sell? What? Okay, this is a typical example of conversion-centric design. Like, it's really ugly. It's using that lobster font that we all use. It's not really centered, etc. But funnily enough, 55% of people understood that it was a VAT declaration automation. It doesn't have to be beautiful to convert. This is called conversion-centric design versus user-centric design. And the question is, how can we merge user-centric design and conversion-centric design? So I give these guys, this is a good GIF, actually. So at first, it's an ugly page. It looks like it's going to be a failure. So you see this guy bowling, a really ugly page, will never make it. Oh, this is terrible. What's gonna, no. And he goes like, yeah. Yeah. There you go. Activation, making sure users have a great first user experience. You usually don't get a second chance. You know, on that chart, 23% of people left within the first 3 days. In your first 3-4 minutes, you want to make them understand what the wow moment of your product is. So, average retention rate over 90 days. This is bad information because it's an average. Let's segment this by the top 50 apps, the top 10 apps, the next 50 apps, the next 100 apps, the next 5,000 apps. What's happening here? These are the top 10 apps. They have a retention rate of around 60% after 90 days. I feel like a used car salesman. Then here on this one, this is the next 50 apps. They have a retention rate of 40%. So what's the difference between the good guys and the bad guys? Is that these guys, the guys who have a good retention rate, they curved. Right? They curved they got a bend in the line much earlier on. And people here, they thought, wow, this can make my life better. Wow, this product is actually worth something. Here, nah, not so impressed. I don't really think I need this in my life. And no amount of email marketing is going to solve this. It's what we call the wow moment, right? If you ask people why 5 times they use a product, it's always because they want to make their life better. And at some point, there's a point where they use your product and they feel, wow, this will actually make my life better. It's like that first time you use an iPhone, first time we actually use a smartphone, wow, this is incredible. We call that a 10x. This is 10 times better than what I had before. I had the chance of being in a Tesla S the other day with a self-driving autopilot. Oh, wow, it was absolutely incredible. Now, I'm not saying you guys all need to build a Tesla or have an iPhone, but there is a wow moment to every single one of your products, your services, or your projects. And what I believe is that people are gating their wow moments behind signups, for example. So I believe in flipping the wow. Why do you wow people after making them sign up a lot of the time? And I'll give you some examples. If I have, yeah, I'm going to be good on time. This is Wealthfront. It's like a Betterment or a Nutmeg competitor. It's a robo-advisor. So you arrive on the page, you click on Invest with Wealthfront. You answer 3 or 4 questions. What are you looking for in a financial advisor? How much do you earn? And how risk-averse are you? After 4 simple questions, they give you a semi-customized investment portfolio that they want to invest for you. Their data suggests that the correlation of people seeing this to signing up and being retained is huge. People feel the wow right here. Then, once you've seen the wow, they ask you for first name, last name, email, password, terms and conditions. Then they ask you 27 other questions to give you a better customized investment portfolio. Put the wow before the sign up. Don't put wow after a stage gate. This is Card. It's like an Unbound competitor or a Strikingly competitor. It allows you to create a landing page in seconds. I arrive on Card. I click on choose a starting point. I choose a template. I choose a background image. I change the text. And I've created Tinder for cats in approximately 1 minute. And then I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I understand the tool. And then they make me sign up if I want to save this project. Wow. More difficult product is a Stripe. It's a payment integration service. How do you wow? It's for developers. It's aimed at developers. How do you wow developers? You show them some code in a bunch of different languages. So here you can choose whatever snippet of code you want. You can actually copy this snippet of code, paste it into your staging environment, into your dev environment, and then run some fake transactions. So you can actually, the number of steps to the wow moment is super, super short. Do I have another example? Yeah, I would advise you, if you just do one thing after tonight's talk or tomorrow morning, count the number of steps that you have to your wow moment. Is it 1, 10, 15, 20, 30? And try to reduce that to like 2 or 3 steps, right? Reduce the friction to the wow moment as much as possible. Super low hanging fruit from a UX point of view. The hard part is identifying the wow moment or realizing you don't actually have one yet. Then it's all about return on investment and speed, finding out what works as soon as possible. We've sort of killed the sexist, cigarette smoking Don Draper. He's creative, great, but he doesn't track. So we've sort of removed him, and we've replaced him with what we call the T-shaped player, sort of your all-around player. You can't survive in this world, this marketing world nowadays, if you don't have a basic understanding of statistics, programming, analytics, behavioral psychology, and storytelling. An even deeper knowledge of A/B testing and conversion rate optimization, funnel marketing, copywriting, and if you're in a small startup, database querying. You shouldn't rely on your developers to have access to data from the database, and then all of the customer acquisition channels. And there's no secret solution. Even if you're this person, I used to be a consultant. I would go from one company to the next. The stuff I had done in this company didn't work in the next company. I needed to create a process. So we've actually created a process that's adaptable, expandable, and really easy to implement because we're inherently lazy, and so am I. It's called the GROWS process, and it's a process where you identify the metric that you want to focus on. And then it's basically a process that we stole from conversion rate optimization and from lean marketing. It's a process of gathering ideas, ranking them, designing experiments that we can test in 2 weeks, executing and studying the data. If you guys want to check it out, I've got this video where I explain the process step by step, really in a granular way. It's at grow.ac/grows. And I also give you access to a bunch of templates that you can use if you want to use this personally or use this inside your organization. Yeah, so basically we gather ideas based on hard and soft data. We rank those ideas using some frameworks, the PIES frameworks and the BRASS frameworks. We design experiments where we can test our assumptions in 2 weeks or less. Work, get shit done, execute. And then we study the data to try to learn why it worked, why it didn't work. This is what our typical backlog looks like, or the number of running experiments. At any given time, a growth team should have between 2 and 20 experiments running at the same time. In this one, we only had 3 active experiments on that part of the funnel. And what people call growth hacking or growth hacks or silver nuggets, it's failing, learning, failing, maybe sort of not failing, but you're in the middle, and then boom, you find that beautiful playbook, that beautiful hack that's giving you customers at really low customer acquisition cost with a nice customer lifetime value. Now, I sort of hate the term growth hack, but that's what it is. It's finding that beautiful golden nugget after a lot of experimentation. This is what growth teams look like. This is the ones that we try to implement. This is what I call the hacker, the hustler, the hipster. You've got your process-driven head of growth. His best friend is the developer, usually front-end developer with some back-end skills. You've got your behavioral psychologist, somebody who has a lot of customer empathy, who's on user experience and UI. And then if you have a lot of data, you need your data analyst to run your regression analysis when there's too much data. I think I'm almost done. I believe it's never been a more scary and exciting time to be a marketeer and to grow companies. I'm addicted to AI at the moment. I think you guys talked about content before. This is AI Writer. They can churn out 3,000 Google-friendly articles in a week just with machine learning algorithms. You can check out the website. It's pretty incredible. You can't tell the difference. You can't tell that this has been written by a computer. It's exciting, but it's scary. Learn to leverage these tools before they start to leverage you. And this is sentient.ai. It's fully automated multivariate conversion rate optimization, fully run by machine learning algorithms. All you need to do is input the HTML changes, and it does the rest for you. We've done some use cases with it. It actually freaking works. Really scary, but really exciting. And this is a number of new AI tools that are coming out from a marketing point of view for the whole funnel. You can check these out when I share the slides. This is from Scott Brinker at Marketing Technology. Yes, so we are organizing a 2-day course about this stuff, condensed, no action, all action, no bullshit course that lasts 2 days. There's basically 60 tools in it, 32 exercises. You'll come out of it with the right process, with the skills, and with the understanding. We're actually going to offer 1 ticket to you guys tonight. So what I'd like you guys to do is, if you're available on March the 2nd and the 3rd, and to thank London Startup Meetup for inviting us, send me an email right now, david@growthtribe. So the IO wasn't working, so it's .nl, david@growthtribe.nl. And then Ferdinand and Esther in the back are going to check, and we're going to pick one randomly, okay? Just sort of randomly. I believe you have about 1 in 50 chance to win. So there's like 70 people left today. 25 people are going to send an email. You have 1 in 25 chances to win the ticket, approximately. Okay, so just send an email here, and maybe we can, if we have time, do some questions while people send the email over. Sorry if I went over.
No, thank you very much. That was fascinating.
Thanks.
Can we give him a hand, please?